Guys think about this shit going on with Wes Watson? I'm not gonna lie, I was actually somewhat like a fan of him at first. I feel like he came in spreading a lot of his positivity in a lot of ways in terms of I feel like his channel, probably not in terms of if he bought his program. And I feel like a lot of people, talk down on him. And like the biggest thing they talked down on was like, oh, his stories aren't real. Or his stories are real, but they're from other people. And yeah, I mean that's already okay. Like if you're lying about that, like what else are you lying about? I agree. But when I start watching John Bravo and we're seeing that he's straight just scamming his audience, I'm like, well, that's some other shit. Because he would do things like get them on reoccurring programs they didn't know they were on, charge them. Eventually, if people do catch on, say, hey, take me off of this, he would either say there's a problem on the other end, not let them get off of it, or he will get them out of it, and then out of nowhere, he would just put them back on it at some point. And like these are facts that people working with him were saying. And my thing was when people were pointing out stuff about Wes Watson, like why weren't they saying this? Why are they just saying like, oh, like he's yelling at guys and degrading them? Which is yeah, kind of weird, and I understand that being said. And it's kind of weird as a man that you want to be yelled at by another man to do better. Like I'm not gonna lie, but I think there was a big part in there of men that didn't actually want that. They just they just felt like they needed something different or something better in life, so they were trying something different. And I think they were unfortunately they were just kind of caught in his wrath. Even worse, they paid for it. So I feel like that's just very unfortunate, but it's a live and you learn kind of thing. It's like, yo, I paid you. Like, why are you disrespectful? Like, when you pay someone thousands of dollars and then you ask them about helping you, like, do macros and stuff like that, and they completely, like, degrade you and say you should learn how to use Google. Like, bro, they literally paying you for that shit that they could have used Google for. So, like, you should be just so appreciative of it that someone's about to spend all that money to get your opinion and then get a little facts that you should know if you're someone that does fitness and you're charging people in that way, or at least give some type of like ideal on how he could like run basic like macros and stuff like that. And like I feel like all this stuff gets and another thing this guy was doing is, you know how when you get a charge to your card, it'll say like where it's from. And sometimes it'd be typical, it'd be like, oh, like you got charged from Macy's. And sometimes it'll be like taboo.com 123 24,008 like charged you this. And you're like, what the heck is this? You know, he would do things like doing that, like, oh, Macy's, YouTube, McDonald's, not McDonald's, because they're bigger charges. Fat motherfuckers. No one questioning why they got $1,000 McDonald's charge. But but that's what he would do. He would use other big names and he would put that as like the description, which is just illegal and pretty messed up to do in general. Because of course at some point people are to question this. My thing, man, how you can act like you got all this money and you flexing on this, but yeah, you act like you in poverty when somebody wants to cancel. Good shit right there, for sure. I'm picking up that from my dog real quick. But I just put that as messed up, and I don't know why people didn't give those warnings like about him in the first place. Because why didn't be like he yells at us, and like that's gonna be what you're gonna complain about him instead of like how he was literally scamming people and people charging their cards for shit that he was supposed to charge them for. or how he would change the name instead of being like Wes Watson Fitness, he would change it to like Macy's, and then you wonder why. You have a $500 charge from Macy's or something. So I just even feel like kind of misled with that shit. Well, I will say, I bought into that shit at first. Not really bought. I didn't spend any money, but because he does have a level of like positivity and stuff like that, and it kind of only makes sense considering he was on ice. Because I feel like all he did was just talk, especially about himself. Like sometimes he be saying shit like, "How can you not see a fucking jack motherfucker next to a Lamborghini? Of course your girl wants them, and of course you're jealous of them." And all I'm thinking is like, dude, is that how you are? Like you see someone with a nice ass car, and were you like jealous of them and wanting to like blow them? Like that's kind of weird. Like I understand like being appreciative and showing love and stuff like that, but to be like shocked, I don't know. I feel it sounds like a lot of men impressing men to me. Or it's just something that I feel like is kind of interesting that you can like learn in life. That it's kind of all just the same gender impressing each other. Sometimes there's women lying and doing certain things impressing other women. But I feel like at least men are sometimes impressed by women. But I feel like a lot of shit that men do, and like women are not even the slightest bit impressed. If anything, there would be like a couple of guys that are. So I just kind of find that stuff kind of funny, and I feel like that's stuff you got to learn in life. One, I don't think you should be out trying to impress anybody. You should be out just trying to be your best self, your most authentic self, the real you, because you can only fake stuff for so long. So might as well be genuine, be the real you, be the best person you can. Why not? Because there's always room for improvement. Like instead of going up and trying to, I was a dog, and trying to front and act like you're this person you're not. Be honest, because I think a lot of people actually like that shit level of honesty, because I think a lot of people do have good positive things to say and influence that could be made, and it could change a lot of lives. But I feel like when people start lying and they try to make themselves seem just bigger than life, you're going to naturally just get some attention. But that's when people are gonna start calling you out on your bullshit. So when you have a bunch of skeletons in your closet, but yet you're trying to feel you got it all together and come at people saying they don't have it together, I just feel like that's kind of just messed up overall. I think he's almost done with their walk. We're probably gonna be going in. I feel you, boy. I think too is like I appreciate a lot of the rappers, celebrities, influencers, whatever you want to say, that actually go through shit and are honest about it. It's kind of like they could be talking about recovery and then they have a relapse and they're having a lot of mental problems and stuff like that. And I feel like when you see that, you're like, man, like this guy is human. Like this guy is at this point in life, whether you want to be there or not. Can go to the side, and that, but they're willing to still be honest and say, like, hey, I got issues I'm dealing with. I'm going to seek help. And I think that gives perspective for a lot of people that are like, you know what? If they could be honest, if they could reach out and get help, like maybe I should too. And I feel like that's just what we kind of need out in the world, like the positivity, because I feel like that gives a level of support that other people are like, you know what? Like I've been seeing that for a long time that I'm going to do it. They're now as good of a time as any. One of my role models is going out there making a difference. He's starting over, or she. So why am I so fearful of doing the same thing? If anything, shouldn't they have more to lose? And you can look at that in a way. I would say they have everything to still gain because they're doing that to do something better with themselves. But I just appreciate the honesty when any type of person that has a spotlight can say what they're going through. Because I think people think that they got everything perfect and figure it out. So when someone like Mac Egan, for example, is saying, "Hey, man, let's go back. We're just gonna go back. I'm getting hot. is saying like, hey, I've been dealing with a lot mentally. I'm gonna go get help, and I'm just gonna put however long it takes. That's what I'm gonna do. I think it's just something that like I just really appreciate because he didn't. He wasn't like, man, I'm gonna be out Baldwin for a month, so if you don't hear from me, no, he's like, I am literally needing to work on myself, and that's what I'm gonna do. And if that's what you need to do, start getting information, start figuring out how you can make the steps to do it. But much love. Let me know where you're tapping in from. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate everybody that is likes, follows, and everything. But I would mostly like to, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me the questions you got, what you're going through. Because we're all going through our own things. And I just hope that, yeah, I can help shine a little light on you as you shine a little light on me. Much love.